My name is Nick Mason, and for the last 13 years I've been a consultant in intensive care and anaesthesia at the Royal Gwent Hospital in Newport. When the pandemic started, I felt that it was very important to document how it was affecting the staff who worked in it.
It was like walking to war. You see people die in front of your eyes.
I don't want to feel that pressed and that helpless again.
The symptoms are going to come back for all of us, the paranoia, of thinking, am I going to catch it? So you've got the winter pressures as well, which are really, really busy for us.
I get to see it firsthand and will continue to see it firsthand. Knowing what's going to happen next is also as frightening as not knowing.
I think initially people got through on adrenaline, people got through because they felt that it was the right thing to do, but now they've had time to reflect, now they've had time to begin to process their experiences, and my concern is whether those people, some of whom were broken by the experience of working in intensive care, will be able to go back in, will be ready to.
You wanted to get... Relatively early on, my wife and child, who was just over a year old, we all made the decision that it was safer for her to move and to be with her parents. I didn't see them for nearly 10 weeks.
Very good.
I don't think that I could deal with missing that much again.
Yeah.
Particularly looking at her now, looking at all the things that she's learning to do, she's right on the cusp of doing.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be there for that. I don't want to have to miss it. I don't want to have to miss you again.
Love you.
One of the worst moments for me was about 3 o'clock in the morning. I was the only doctor on ICU. I was in a space meant for 8 patients that had 12 patients in it, all on ventilators, and every single one of the alarms was going off. It was one of the moments that really made me realise that there were too many people to help at once. It was terrifying, and it definitely stays with me.
Having heard Shri talking about what it was like as an Indian to come to work and to recognise that he was at more risk than his white colleagues, that was a story that had to be told.
When I walked in the unit, most of the patients were male and the same color as my skin. It was scary. I had this feeling that I could be on the same bed, I could be equally sick, and I could die because of it.
When I actually saw him finishing his shift and coming out, and he had a lot of impressions on his face because of the mask, I had a meltdown because everything just started sinking in, things that could go wrong.
Now looking at the future is like the second surge and going back to work, and yeah, the same feeling again. Still it can be you, still you can be severely affected, yeah.
We only coped because of the extraordinary effort of colleagues. There was an army of people in the background, an army of unknown and unrecognised people without whom we would not have coped. Our mortuary staff, Vince and Molly, did an extraordinary job.
You know, you get up in the morning, you switch on, it's COVID, because you know you're going to go back into it all day. It does bring that extra pressure on you, that extra stress. Whereas you think we might not get through this, none of us might not get through this.
A normal lung would be quite spongy. With COVID, you actually had sort of a hard, firm feeling to the lungs. It was quite scary, seeing something new. And I mean, people around me have been doing the role for such a long time and they'd never seen it.
We're looking at the next peak with trepidation. We know we can cope, and we will cope, but there's always that fear of, personally, can you cope, mentally and physically?
I still get quite emotional looking at the pictures of Cindy. Cindy was the sickest patient that we had and survived. It's very difficult not to be affected looking after somebody who's one of your own.
I was on the ventilator for 17 days. I think 25 days altogether in ITU, and the rest on the ward. 47 days altogether in the hospital.
Let me just try the other hand.
My partner works as a carer.
Right, let's see. Yeah, it's going down.
All the people that I spoke to thought I was peacefully asleep, but I wasn't. I was actually having nightmares and hallucinations, which are really petrifying. I was trying to talk to God as well, saying, God, if you think I still got some purpose in life, just please make me better. If not, I'm really struggling. I'm really in a lot of pain and I'm suffering. Just get me. When I'm exhausted, I can't even do it. I just want to go back to work, but I'll be very scared. I think as a nurse, because it's my calling as a nurse, and you just have to go back and look after other people, really.
History teaches us that subsequent waves of pandemics are frequently more severe than the first, and I think that's the fear for many of us. My greatest concern is that for many of the people who paid a huge emotional toll, whether they will have the strength to go back in when the next wave hits, because ultimately they're the only people that we have. There is no one else.